Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the European crossover webinar. And things are still relatively quiet. Euro's trading at 22.45. We'll just pop over there and take a look. Indices are still continuing to go and push higher. We're higher here in the euro, but just a little bit higher nonetheless. You can see here in the pre-market hours, you can see here where Apple has continued to move higher. New all-time highs here on this move. Same thing here with Microsoft, 226. Amazon pushing up a little bit higher also. See where cable stands. Come back up to this pivot level, this 34.97 here. For the cable, also take a look where Aussie is. Relatively quiet. We had a tight range yesterday. We'll go on and take a look at where we stand here in economic data. Hard to believe we're already right here at the end of the year. We do have Johnson Red Book this morning. Obviously, that's a super low tier. Way back in the day, that used to be a key number, key data point. They used to have it in the afternoons, I think around 1 o'clock, if I remember correctly. But it's super low tier now. Case Shiller at 9 a.m. Eastern, and Texas Services Outlook at 10:30 Eastern. And we'll take a look at indices. Irina says, good morning. Good morning, Irina. And let's go to the indices. And as you can see here, new highs again in the NASDAQ. Also new highs also here on the S&Ps. They're kind of easing back just a hair. We can see here on the 30-minute, wow, what a run here. This is the dip yesterday on the open, and look how much we've come up. Acting a bit tired up here, close to the 12,900. Little minor gravestone doji, very minor. But boy, we are stretched. Look at that. And same here with the S&Ps. Look at that. Boy, this slower exponential moving average really caught those lows here. Continue to move higher. And what else can you say here? I mean, there's not really anything. If you look further out here, if you would extend these, actually coming into some key resistance, 12,954 and 12,932. I'll have to move these over. And 12,932. We'll have to see where those stand on these. With that, we'll go on and take a look at what we stand here on the news. Australian New Zealand dollars gain as U.S. package and Brexit deal encourage risk. Australian New Zealand dollars traded slightly higher against the greenback on Tuesday as risk appetite was boosted by a new stimulus package in the U.S., and a landmark Brexit trade deal. The Australian dollar, a liquid proxy for risk, rose 16 basis points to 75.93 in thin trading as the safe haven greenback languished near a 2.5-year low as U.S. lawmakers push forward with a COVID relief package. The Aussie is on track to end 2020 with more than 8% higher, its biggest annual gain since 2017, having endured a roller coaster year, starting at 70.07 before falling as low as 54.69. Rising iron ore prices, Australia's success in containing the novel coronavirus, a global optimism with the advent of successful vaccines, and positive surprises around its economic recovery have fueled the Australian dollar's rally. We do expect a solid recovery in 2021 with global growth forecast at 5.2%, led by U.S. and China. Stephen Omrit, economist at Commonwealth Bank, said the New Zealand dollar was up at 71.18 on Tuesday and was on track for its biggest annual gain since 2012. Last week's Brexit agreement helped support the outlook for a global growth, also lifting Asian stocks on Tuesday. Also, the dollar languishes in pandemic aid optimism and pound meanders. We've already basically just covered all that. Obviously, it's very thin trading. Not thin trading, I mean, not a whole lot happening. So it's basically a rehash of what we just read. Optimism abounds. Okay, we already read that. Short positions on the dollar swelled in the week ending December 21st to 26.6 billion. Euro rose to 22.37. Sterling rose to 34.84. On the 2-day decline. People still trying to figure out what the Brexit agreement means, weighing on the pound. Nothing's really been agreed on financial markets, and it's a big negative for the UK. That's not saying a whole lot. So let's go on and move into the analysis. And bear with me. And Irina said if we could provide a little bit more detail on the euro. So we'll take a look at the euro. Here we are on the weekly chart. And certainly it looks, I was thinking, is that it certainly looks like the way the NASDAQ's going. You can see here, it just keeps on going higher and higher. You can see right here where I'm at, right there. It really appears that we're going to have some type of a blow-off top, seriously. And I'm thinking that's why I've been kind of cautious. I'd actually had a short position yesterday that I actually had a profit and then ended up getting stopped, which was actually a good thing, but stopped last week on the open. And actually, the market did rally, higher at the time, and then we came back. And of course, we're much higher now. But the point was, I was looking at is I think we're going to have to push much stronger here, like really get a true blow-off. It appears that that's the only way because right now they're just, you can see it's just gently going higher, and then any little dip they try and bite, we go a little bit higher. I think we have to blow out these people. So I think that ultimately it looks like we'll end up taking this 22.84 out. And that was a level that we were looking at. You can see right there. See if I can expand on this a bit. Okay, you can see that 22.84 here. I think they're going to have to take that out. And how much further they go, I don't know. I just wouldn't, just like I'm trying to be cautious with the NASDAQ, you almost feel like if you just buy and just hold on to just keep going, higher. But it seems like at some point they'll try to blow out a little bit here. I think we're going to have to. I don't think it's of the euro itself. I think it's really with risk, and I think we'll end up blowing out some of those people here. There's probably people that are going to fade against this thinking, which I believe 2284 is a key level, but I think we're going to have to take these stops out, which we may do the same thing kind of with the NASDAQ and blow out some people, and then we'll fill. I just don't know how much further above 2284 can we press. So the key levels here are 2284 and 2349. It just doesn't, at this point, it doesn't pay to try and take the opposite side at all. I think you really have to be careful as we go into the next couple of days, because at this point, some people may just throw in the towel. So far, I mean, it makes no sense from an equity point to even get out of your longs, because really the people, it's not like people continue to buy here. It's just the people that were long, there's no reason for them to get out until we reverse back and take out some key levels, and we haven't. So it's just this is just the market just pressing a little bit further. And surprisingly, the euro is not acting the same way risk equities are. But I think one more push in here may allow the stops to take out 2284 is key. I think that if we were to go above 2284, let's say we went up to 2360 or went up here to 2390 and then came back and closed below 2349, then you'd have your setup. But that's the way I look at it right now, and I think you have to be careful. But the levels are the levels, and that's what we're just going to go on and base it on. So when we look here, euro closed higher on Monday, although resistance for Tuesday remains 22.41 with support at 21.54. I don't know how this came about. Onto the cable. And we're back above it right now. Cable slid below 34.97. The pivot on Monday, resistance for Tuesday will be the pivot and support at 33.62. Well, we're above the pivot. I mean, I'm going to stick to what I said. So 34.97, but we're above it. And 33.62 if we come down here. Onto the Aussie. Kind of stuck right now. Aussie Dollar closed Monday with a doji in a very tight range. Resistance for Tuesday remains 76.23 with support at 75.20. No changes there. Trading pretty tight. On with the Kiwi. Kiwi closed flat on the day within a tight range. Resistance will be 71.52 with support at 70.02. No changes there. Although we're still pushing up a little bit higher here. On to the dollar CAD. Dollar CAD closed with the doji on Monday. For Tuesday, support will be 27.85 with resistance at 29.07. So we're not changing it, but look how we're not going anywhere. On to the dollar peso. Here in FX, nothing's really happening. You can see here, the only thing of really measurable interest, it appears, is just the euro and to a certain extent the cable. That's about it. Dollar peso. Dollar peso closed higher on Monday, but did not challenge any significant levels. You can see that. Support will be 1982 with resistance at 2014. Onto the dollar yen, same thing here. Bump on the log, just dead as a doornail. Dollar yen closed above 375 on Monday. Resistance remains 390 and support at 334. And we are just not going anywhere. Onto the dollar index. The dollar index challenged the 90-cent level on Monday, while only closing slightly lower. You can see we came back up, but we closed just a tad lower here. Looked like it was a little bit of a mini hammer. Support for Tuesday will be 90.07 with resistance at 90.62. And onto the Kiwi yen. You can see here we're still pressing a little bit higher here, but still within this range. So upside still remains 74.05. We are pressing up against there. And downside, we're going to go on and keep that right there. It'll just move up just a hair bit higher to 73.17. Not a whole lot of difference, but just a slight. Onto the euro pound. Pretty good, strong, solid turnaround day here from yesterday. You can see the resistance levels. Look at this wick, and this lower wick. That is going to be 90.82. Support right here. You see this wick coming across here and almost at these two wicks. That would be support, 90.19. Onto the euro odd. A little bit of a turnaround yesterday, even as we were coming in, we're trying to press up a little bit higher. You can see where the resistance comes in right there, 61.65. Resistance is going to, support's going to come in right there at that open body, 60.25. Onto the euro kiwi. Fairly tight day yesterday. We did have support at 70.89. We'll keep the 70.89 with resistance at 72.80. Resistance be right there with this body, right there. So we'll call it 72.63. Onto the Aussie yen. We're still trying to press up against these highs. We haven't taken it out yet, but it will still remain the same until they do. 78.97. We're even looking across a weekly level at the time, and 78.11 will still remain the support. And onto the guppy. Resistance right there. Call it 40.34. With support right there, 38.90. Onto the sterling odd. Mm, 77.36 is still going to hold for now, and 78.65 on the upside. No changes. And there we go. Looking at some ancillary stocks, as mentioned. Let's take a look at PayPal. Oh, a little bit of turn here. One thing that we did notice, actually, Jane pointed out yesterday at the close. Look at Russell. Got a gravestone doji yesterday. Kind of holding here, but this gravestone doji here after this phenomenal run. That's not a reversal yet, which just kind of looks like we may be a little bit of an exhaustion. We have to do a lot more before we get some kind of real loss of. Really, on a short side, we'd have to take this level out, just on a short side. If we were to put. And let's see. So you can see we've got a ways to go. I mean, just for starters, we'd have to take out this level, which would be 1960, just for starters, to say, okay, it looks like we may have run out of gas a little bit, need to take a pause. And that would be a daily close below 1960. And then we'd actually have to close here to say, okay, it looks like we may have a short-term top to get a daily close below, which would be 1853. So you can see how far that is. But it's something to keep an eye on. Tesla. We're back below that. Remember how important we talked about that key 677 is, and we're not above it. We challenged above it, so that 677's key. Peloton. Okay, and these are these big plays, for the pandemic plays. Look at Peloton. We got a gravestone doji yesterday. Let's mark this one off too. So gravestone doji, and look. Interesting. We're engulfing here. And PayPal. These are the ones that you want to look at just to see if are there any signals that we're starting to see. Something could be once again, a little bit of a worry, a little bit of smoke. And there is a little bit. So just something to keep track of, especially how stretched we are already here at Indices. And we'll go back to the equities real quick. And you can see here, look at Apple. New highs up in here. Microsoft, you can see here at 226. Amazon is pushing a little bit higher here. Google did turn things around here a little bit. Facebook, look, it held that 267 again. Look like that was going to break. So when you look here, it looks like everything's hunky-dory. But we are seeing some some minor, so you could almost call them some concerns. I wouldn't say minor concerns, a little bit of concerns in some of the pandemic favorites, like PayPal and Peloton up here. Netflix has come back a little bit, and Tesla needs to get back above 67, actually 677 where it's at. So other than that, that's about it right now. That's all we have. We'll have to see how things play out. I'll get the bias chart posted, but thanks for joining us here on the European Crossover webinar.